You're mainstream
real, okay?
now.
Okay, but let's tell me how the connection between aliens and the Nazis took place. When did all this start?
Let me begin. This is really, I'm telling you, Joe, this is a real deal.
I believe you.
This is, you ask, who are they? It's people who are psychically, genetically available to interface in this incredibly diverse universe with all these dimensions above and below and all around us with consciousnesses. And the truth is, no energy is ever destroyed. It all continues on. The truth is, our bodies, this is a fact, are a communal hive organism of all of our ancestors and all of their race memories, but not in just some compressed epigenetic system. It's beyond that. It's an electrochemical antenna, they've proven this, that connects to higher and lower dimensions. So our bodysuit, because our predecessors wouldn't put us in a position without giving us a bodysuit that is them. Our families are loving us. They're holding us. They're wrapped all around us. Their strength, their will, their bad, their good, their sins, the good things they did, the battles they won, the battles they lost, the woman they loved, the man they loved. It's all in us, all these people. It's why we're able to look into so many things and have so many different experiences. And so all the shaman, all the ancient religions, everybody says there are the good ones and there are the bad ones, and people are interfacing. So you say, where does it begin? From the Tibetans to the Mesoamericans to the Egyptians to the Druids to every ancient society describes the same thing. There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are, and there are good things, but they don't contact you unless you contact them, and then they're almost not even concerned with what you're doing. I never bought into this, looked into it. But then I began to think about, what did I hear when I was a kid? What did I see? What was coming out in government documents? What was being admitted? When I read all these books about World War II and the Nazis and Hitler obsessed with the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans and what they were able to do without drugs to interface with this, and all the rituals they would do and how they would believe that beyond the ether, like at Skull and Bones, it's a German death cult, they do rituals and take drugs to talk to the goddesses. Well, they're just appearing as, sexy, beautiful women. It's whatever you want as these spirit guides, because lower entities will come in and violate your free will. God and his angels, which are below him, will not get involved in your everyday life. They will not manipulate your free will unless you ask them in. But then the devil masquerades as an angel of light. So we're on this planet, the third dimension, which is a launch pad to all the other dimensions below and above. The third dimension, all the mathematics shows, is the primal sea of where all this happens. And the Earth's like an egg, and we've got all this potentiality. And God will send out a transmission for a larger plan, but evil's willing to come in. And what does it say? Demoralize, get rid of children, don't have kids. Humans are bad. We'll be better once you're all gone. And it's because it's their operational mission for whatever reason that we'll understand later what's going on. So the Nazis, if you get into deep literature, they believed they were basically seancing and being possessed by entities that, it was before the Nazis. For whatever reason, it was the Germans that this happened to, and the Swiss. Like, they didn't discover LSD in the 30s. These people were running the psychology departments. They were interfacing with the occult. They were involved in all this crazy stuff, and it was all about their power and how great they were going to be. And the Germans were seduced. And they were seduced because they had high IQs, but more than that, they were psychically connected to each other and would work like robots. The Chinese and the EU want robots to replace us because they'll follow orders. And the Chinese are very conscious when they're conscious, but they're also very robotic. But the Germans are just as robotic. So this entity system picked Germans as its attempt, even in World War I, World War II, and it was manipulating the Brits as well, and offering them technologies, but two different paths. One was social control and all this other stuff with the Brits. The other was high-tech weapons, systems, interdimensional with the Germans. And so whoever these players are, and you can dial into it, but it's very dangerous. They're manipulating the British arm versus the German arm, and then they've got the Chinese arm that's almost seen as like their robot army. And so when you study it, the globalists go to these events, and they take bigger and bigger doses of drugs. They do electroshock. If you go back to owners of Time Life books, weren't just in the 20s and 30s into LSD and other hallucinogens. An apothecary, they were getting electroshock. They were having people turn their heart off to like try to communicate with these things to try to be dominant and get that. So you go back thousands of years, Merlin, the archetypal, or these magicians or these wizards are taking drugs in these temples and interfacing with these palantirs, these crystal balls, which aren't really crystal balls. It's their psychic focus of an interdimensional connection while they're on drugs looking into glass to then be able to see the future and understand what's happening to give them temporal power over this planet. But like the Bible tells you, any pharmakia or any of that always leads to destruction because only evil is going to come through that way. So we're basically have these light sockets. We can't jack into the higher unless it's our free will, and that takes time. We jack in to the evil. So you can jack into evil, you can't jack into good right away. So it's quicker, it's easier, like Yoda says about Darth Vader. Quicker, easier, more seductive. And so then I remember being a kid, and my parents, they don't really get mad about this, it's whatever. They didn't even know what they were hearing at the time. But they had friends that they knew at UT that were involved in research projects. And then they were, and 9 times out of 10, I read about research projects in San Francisco. UT has some, MIT has a lot, and shot me anytime you want. But this was in like the 60s. They had virtual reality gloves where you'd put them on and put goggles on, and you'd go into stuff that looked like the holodeck from Star Trek 20 years before it existed. And they were doing surgeries and all this, and they would do empathy loads where they'd say, we need the public because we're so weak because the West is so strong. People haven't had trauma, so they sold them low level. Oh, we're going to create trauma. Like when you go to Mars, you're not getting any gravity, so your heart's no good when you get there.
Who's organizing all this?
Well, they don't tell you. They go, oh, it's a special class you've been about to. So in the 60s, they had gloves.
So there's a special class of people that are organizing all this shit for
It's the
what?
highest scores.
But is it for what purpose?
Well, you don't know. That's what I'm
Financial
telling you.
gain, social
no, it's all
status?
spiritual.
Jack Parsons, was he?
Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Aleister Crowley, Devil Worship. Exactly.
Okay, so wait a minute. So you're saying
Aleister
Jack
Crowley over 100 years ago.
Listen to this.
Goes to
How
the Great
crazy
Pyramid
is
and the
this?
aliens give him the plan.
The founder of JPL, Jack Parsons. Have you heard this before?
No, I just can't believe I didn't want to have Alex on the podcast.
No, but have you ever heard that
Let me
before?
finish.
Have you
Let
ever
me
heard
finish.
that?
Just let me say this.
No.
I'm not trying to take over, but it's 2 years ago here. But I'm not bullshitting you. Okay, I'm telling you this stuff. I don't believe in this. Okay,
There it is, right there.
This was patented in 1957. It's a VR machine.
Exactly. No, exactly.
That's crazy.
So I've talked
Amazing.
to people, not just family.
Holy shit.
And
Gives you wind, vibration, aromas, stereo sound, color, motion, wide vision, and 3D, three-dimensional.
But let me tell you, they wore a mask in the 60s and 70s that was already like you see like paper thin TV screens. Mm-hmm. And it was already, I talked to people, they said there's no way this was human technology.
So you've seen these foldable phones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the aliens have already taken over Samsung and Huawei.